Hey everyone, welcome to Ultra Healers. I'm Baljeet, and on this channel I talk about healing. Today I'm going to be talking about ego and the devastating effects that ego can have on our lives, on our relationships, on our future. And a lot of different sages, rishis, and a lot of different yogis and spiritual people from centuries have understood that ego is one of the central causes of suffering. So why do they say that? Why do they say that ego can cause so much suffering? Well, it's because when we are doing things where the root of everything is from an ego perspective, we're actually setting ourselves up for failure. And I'm not saying failure financially or failure, physically, or failure in those kinds of ways. I'm saying failure mostly mentally. In anything in life, if we want to be successful, we have to be emotionally happy. And for that, we need emotional intelligence. And ego will never give us emotional intelligence. In fact, it'll give us the opposite. When we do something from an egotistical perspective, what we're actually trying to do is we're building something without a foundation. We're starting something without a solid grasp on everything. So what that can actually do is, for example, if we are doing something to impress somebody, in the end we're not caring about ourselves. We're not worried about how we're going to feel in the long run. What if this person doesn't get impressed? Or what if this person gets impressed for a little while and then moves on? What's left for us? So to start from the root of any kind of pathway that we're going on for growth, we should definitely focus on ourselves first before we can go out and help others. Because helping others and trying to impress others without us feeling fulfilled is going to be very, very difficult. It's going to leave us. It's kind of like using a credit card when you don't have any money in your bank account. So I'm not saying you shouldn't help people. I'm saying definitely help people, but also make sure that you're going to feel fulfilled and make sure that it's unconditional before you try to expect something back, because that comes from an ego perspective. So a lot of people in history, like Napoleon, they succeeded for quite some time and then they, fell down. Look at Trump. He succeeded for a little while and then now he's basically going downhill. A lot of times these really big people, like these kings and these, people with a lot of power, they come from a perspective of ego. So they do things because they want to be powerful. They use their power to try to control things. And when people are using their power to try to control things, it doesn't last very long. It lasts for a short while. And even if it does last a while, at the end, the remaining parts of their lives that are left, they're going to feel completely miserable and completely ruined and completely just emotionally unhappy. No bliss, no nothing, no happiness. So what we need to do in order for us to, do things without coming from an ego perspective is first, we should be content with our lives, with everything that God and the universe is one. Everything that God, the universe, has given us, we should be content with that. We should be content with the fact that we have everything that we need to survive. We should be grateful that we're able to take a breath. We should be grateful that we can see, that we can touch, we can hear, we can smell, we can do things to propel us forward. That's first and foremost. And then secondly is awareness. Definitely we need awareness to understand that what we're doing, is it right or is it wrong? From where we're coming from, is it from a right perspective or is it from a wrong perspective? And then lastly, intelligence, emotional intelligence. If we let ego be higher than our intelligence, we're going to fail in every aspect of our lives. Even though we feel like we're being successful, it's kind of like some of my previous videos that I talked about, the dopamine chasing the dopamine highs, chasing pleasure seeking, just completely immersed in trying to seek pleasure or trying to seek gratification. That's only short term. It's kind of like a drug. It's only short term. So people who are going after things with their egos, it's kind of like chasing a drug or chasing, pleasure seeking for a short amount of time. It's only going to last a little while, and then afterwards they're going to feel completely drained and completely powerless. So what's the point, right? I'll tell you a story. Ever since I was 14, from 14 to about 5 years after college, from that time span, I did almost everything out of ego. Before I was 14, I didn't see too much recognition. I didn't feel that I had like low self-esteem. And then, when I was in high school, I started, cross-country running. I started involving myself in sports. I started involving myself in academic gratefulness, basically like doing really well in academics. And from a lot of different perspectives, I was doing really well. And from that, a bunch of pride came in. And when I felt that sense of pride and felt people, wanted to be like me, then that kind of carried on into college and even after college. But when I look back at it now, I'm realizing that I didn't get much out of that. I had like fake friends. I had fake people who wanted to fake. Nowadays, people on social media, they have a lot of fans and all that stuff. But a lot of them are just fake. They just want to. A lot of people out there aren't really happy with what you're doing if it's coming out of ego. If it's coming from the heart and you have those ground rules set up where you're content, aware, and using emotional intelligence over ego, then people will catch on to that, and actions speak louder than words. So people will realize that that this is somebody that I should look up to, or this is somebody that I can look up to, instead of like, oh my God, forget that guy. I'm just gonna follow him to see how he does, and the whole time I'm gonna be jealous. So those are the two perspectives. People will catch on very easily if something's coming out of the ego or something's coming from the heart. And so with my story, for those like 15 years that came out of ego, I did everything pretty much out of ego to try to impress people. I never looked at how I would feel, oh, I'm gonna take this class because after I take this class, people are gonna be like, oh my God, you're so smart. Or yeah, I'm gonna get I'm gonna get in shape, I'm gonna get a six-pack so that I can take off my shirt and show people, look what I achieved. But where is the satisfaction in me in that? There's no satisfaction. So, or in the end, I literally was depressed for a while, and I had to get out of that depression, and I had to figure out what was causing that. And I realized, in the past few years, shit, I've been doing everything to try to impress other people. Yes, I've been doing some stuff for other people, to help other people, because, I also want to be, unconditionally helping other people, but I felt empty. Where could I help other people if I was feeling empty inside, I couldn't even help myself, so how could I help other people? So ego really took a hold of me and really, really threw me down and just slapped me against the ground. And that's why I'm making this video, is I want to put that message out there that ego, doing things from an ego standpoint will never, from a proud standpoint. Well, there's two different types of proud. You can be proud of your children for accomplishing something. That's a different type of proud. That's like coming from the heart. But there's also a proud oh my God, I'm better than everybody. I am better than everybody, and I don't care. Even if I'm not, I know that I am. So that's like more of a bad type of ego. So there are two different types from the Sanskrit meaning of ego, hankar. There's two different types. There's actually three different types. tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. I'm not going to go into the details, but I'll just let you know what the bad and the good is. The bad is when you're trying to do things out of anger, jealousy, to try to get back at people, to do things from the 7 deadly sins, you know, to try to basically put somebody else down or to try to impress somebody. But in the end, there's nothing left there. You're empty and you're trying to cover it up with all these excuses like, oh, you know, I'm this and I'm that. So that's the bad kind of ego. The good kind, and we all need a little bit of it, but it has to be less than our intelligence. Our ego should be less than our intelligence. And when that's the case, then the good ego comes. And that's like doing community service. It's like feeling happy for what you're doing out for other people. It's like working for your family, earning that money for your family, feeling happy, feeling proud that you're able to do that for your family. You know, doing charitable things, doing things basically that give a return on investment, not just to the external world, but a return on investment to yourself. When you do that, that is doing things from the root, from building a foundation, and having all of those other things like contentment, awareness, and emotional intelligence locked in. And that's when success really comes. That's when you feel blissful and happy inside, because not only are you accomplishing things that you wanted to outside, not only are actions speaking louder than words for your external fans, friends, family, and people that are, you know, around you, but you're also feeling very, very satisfied inside. And that way, it balances everything out. And that's basically one of the keys to living a blissful life. So that's what I wanted to say today about ego and doing things the wrong way or the right way. And I'm glad that I experienced that, the amount of ego that I experienced you know, in high school and college, because looking back at it, I can compare the two and how I am now and how I am then, and it's such a world of a difference, and I'm feeling so grateful and so content and so alive that I'm able to share this with you, you know. And I really appreciate you listening, and I hope that this video helped. If it did, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.